never sees a baby, so I figured, you know, let me give them a call so they could see her. So in turn, they came to pick me up, and she decided to watch the baby. She offered to take care of the baby.
All right. She said what to you?
She said, oh, I could watch her for you. You know, you could go out and have a good time.
And did you do that?
Yeah.
That's the babysitter.
Yes.
Second.
Yes.
What time?
This was probably in the evening around 8 o'clock, 8 o'clock.
Good. When did you come back?
I came back the next day.
Where did you go that night?
I was with her niece, Katie, and Lisa's daughter, and some of her nieces.
Where did you sleep that night?
At her sister's house.
Okay, so the next day you came back on January the 3rd.
Yes.
What time?
I came back around 10 o'clock in the morning.
See, the thing is about Judge Judy. If she asks a question, you gotta be quick with it.
Morning.
Go ahead.
So I went over there, was with my baby for that whole day.
Was Miss West at home?
Yes, she was at home.
Okay, keep going.
So, anyways, that same day, she ends up telling me that, you know, it's time for me to go home. I said, okay. She says, but you could leave your baby here, and I could watch her for you overnight. I said, oh, no, that's okay. You know, I could go home. She said, are you sure you're going to be able to take care of the baby because you've been drinking? I said, of course I'll be able to take care of my baby. I'm fine.
Had you been drinking on the 3rd?
Yes, I was drinking a little bit. It was New Year's, so. Yeah.
No, the 3rd is not New Year's.
Yeah.
New Year's is December 31st. The 3rd is not New Year's. On the 3rd of January, had you been drinking?
Yes.
What were you drinking? The Remy?
Yeah.
And then you wanted to take the baby home?
Yes, so.
And she said no.
She didn't want me to take my baby home. I said, well, can I stay here? She didn't want me to stay at her house. She's like, oh, I'll take care of her. She's like, don't worry about it. Go home and relax. She's like, because, you know, you're a new mom and you do need a break, and Thomas is nowhere around to be found. He hasn't called or
keep going.
anything.
Come on, move it.
He look like he don't even want to be there.
So anyway, so I go home. She drops me off at home. My mom asks, where's the baby? So I said, oh, Lisa's taking care of her. She says, oh, really? So I said, would you like to call her? So she calls her, and Lisa gets on the phone and said, oh, well, do you want me to call CPS? And there's no reason to involve CPS for anything. I don't know why she said that. So we go pick up my daughter, and she doesn't know that I'm coming to pick up my daughter. I go in the house, and when I go in her bedroom, she's shocked to see me.
Who let you in?
Her husband let me in. So when I busted in the room, she was sitting with my baby. My baby was stuffed in her chest. She had a pillow behind her back, and she was sitting cross-legged. She said, what are you doing here? I said, give me my baby, Lisa. She snatched the baby. She said, no. I said, what do you mean? I can't have my baby? She said, no, do you want me to call CPS? I said, for what?
That don't make no sense. She tripping. That's the mom, like.
Hey, why are you gonna call CPS for? So she refuses to give me my daughter. So I have to call my mom to tell my mom to come in the house saying she's not giving me my baby. So then she decides.
How did you get there?
My mom gave me a ride.
You mean your mother gave you a ride and then just dropped you off?
No, she was waiting outside for me.
Okay, go ahead.
So then she decides finally to give me my daughter. So my mom comes in the house, and I'm like, Mom, she's not letting me leave with my baby. She says, oh, no, don't let them leave. She was telling Katie and everybody in the house, don't let her leave, don't let her leave. So they block all possible entries so me and my mom cannot get out with
That's messed up.
my daughter. My baby started crying. My mom was holding the baby. So my mom said, oh, do you have a bottle so I could feed my granddaughter? Lisa's like, no, let me feed her. She tries to go to my mom and tries to tear my baby out of my...
Look, I wanted to mention this. I make these reactions because instead of me watching it by myself, like, why not just record it? You feel me? Like, it's just me watching it. Like, yeah.
My mom's arms. So that's when I gave me to her. I'm like, what are you doing? No. So she comes back to me, grabs me by my jacket, and slams me all the way against the wall. Then she grabs me and slams me all the way down on the bathroom floor and starts choking me. It took 3 people to try
That sounds crazy.
to get her off of me. Her husband was in the kitchen, finally decides to get up to come get her off of me. And then she's still trying to fight. She's still trying to come attack me. And then when the police comes, she tells them that I attacked her, which was wrong.
Miss West, now I'll hear you.
Well, it started
say,
January the 1st. My niece and my daughter comes home with Rachel. My niece Katie tells me that Rachel called my daughter Caroline to pick her up from this hotel on West MacArthur.
Katie, stand up. Tell me what you saw when you got to the hotel.
Okay. Rachel was drinking with some guy, and the baby was just crying, and it just seemed like the
Well,
baby.
how did you get, who had you heard from that caused you to go to the hotel?
My cousin.
Who were you in the hotel with?
I was with my friend. He was helping me.
What's his name?
His name is Jose.
And what were you drinking with Jose?
I'm drinking some Remy.
Go ahead.
Anyway, I took the baby from Rachel because she was crying. I rubbed her stomach. It seemed like she had colic. And I said, Rachel, do you burp your baby after you feed her? Rachel said, no. This is my first child. I really don't know what I'm doing. I said, you know what, Rachel? This don't make no sense. Give me this baby. Me and my cousins take the baby. We go get the baby some medication. Rachel is not even coherent enough to give her baby the medication.
Your Honor.
Put your hands down. I don't think you're adorable. I don't think you're cute. I'm going to hear from your mother because, quite frankly, unless your mother is totally together, I'm calling CPS on you. You understand that?
Yes.
You understand why?
She probably
Why?
lying.
Remy. Stand up.
Probably lying.
Who has legal custody of this child?
Rachel.
That better change. That better change. She is in no position to have legal custody of this child. And unless somebody who's responsible has custody of this child, Child Protective Services is going to take the child and give the child to a stranger. Maybe to Miss West. Who knows? Your daughter is acting irresponsibly. Don't you understand that?
I do understand, but I do not understand the reason why Miss West had to assault her. That I don't understand.
Listen to me. I don't understand why you would allow your daughter, who was intoxicated, which she clearly was on the 3rd of January, to go back to Miss West's house and tell her to go inside and take the baby. If you felt as if you didn't want Miss West and you wanted the baby to come home with you, then you go inside, and maybe you could have had a civilized discussion with Miss West.
Yeah.
Instead, you send her inside, and she has no brain. I mean, didn't you hear what she said? This lady is telling me the truth. She went to a motel, found your daughter in a motel with your granddaughter crying, and she's sitting with some jerk drinking Remy.
No, Your Honor, my daughter was crying because I didn't know what was going on. I was holding my baby, Your Honor.
Because you didn't know that you needed
Just
to
a
birth
second.
her.
Just a second. You didn't know what year it
I was
madam.
burping my daughter, Your Honor.
What were you doing in a motel with a guy drinking Remy?
Because I was expecting to see if the father would call me on New Year's to come by. That's why I got the hotel room. I was with my friend. He was helping me take care of my baby instead of the father.
He was helping you by sitting with you in a motel
He
drinking?
wasn't.
Drinking?
He was holding her, helping me, trying to calm her down too, Your Honor.
What's your last name?
Jimenez.
Miss Jimenez. Do you get it? She is incapable of taking care of a child.
I'm not capable.
Incapable.
My daughter is well taken care of.
She has no judgment. Zero judgment. And this baby is going to get hurt. Did you just hear what she said to me, Miss Jimenez? She said she took a motel room, hoping that the baby's father would call her on New Year's Eve. And later, she's still in the motel room with Jose, drinking Remy with the baby. Do you get it? You're shaking your head. The only reason you're off the hook is that there's not enough room for you up there.
Ma'am, she
Because
took
when
my
you make-
child from me,
Because when you make a baby, you're supposed to be able to take care of the baby.
and I was. And I provided a roof over her head till she decided to take my baby and leave with
Then
everything.
you go to court.
He a real one. He a real one.
That's what I'm doing,
He hasn't
ma'am.
been doing
Good.
anything.
Then you go to
He a
court.
real one.
What?
When I took her to pick the
He didn't
baby,
even have to
she was
stand up
not
there.
drunk.
She had been drinking all day. She said she had been
I
drinking all
wasn't
day.
drinking all day. That's when I was drinking during the daytime, Your Honor.
She alcoholic, bro. Period.
Then I wanted to
She
go home
alcoholic.
with my daughter. She told me I could stay at her house, but then refused for me not to stay at her
I
house.
heard you. Did you know where your daughter was on January 1st with the baby in the motel? Just answer my question. Did you know where your daughter was on January 1st in the motel?
Yes,
And you
but
thought
not in the motel, Your Honor. She was at home.
she was in a motel with Jose?
Then she went there because she
So
wanted
I'm asking you, listen, I'm asking you, did you know that she was in a motel with Jose?
I did not know until
That's what-
afterwards.
That's what I want to know. Does it surprise you to know she was in a motel with Jose drinking?
They already messed up. Both of them, they done.
I was surprised to know that she
That's
was
all I
there.
want. That's all I want to know. So far, maybe there's a light at the end of your tunnel. Maybe.
Your Honor, I'm
Maybe.
a very good mom. I'm a very good mom. My daughter does not.
Man, look, y'all, we already know where this is going. Tired, y'all. I already go to sleep. It's late. Shit. Been Mikey. Alright, y'all.